is kinda snuffy. Cold chill up your spine. You'll get your ass moving, son, with burning daylight.
Howdy there. I'm Matt McKinley, and we're burning daylight.
In the saddle till the job's done right.
Welcome to Burning Daylight, the only podcast for the working cowboy. Well, welcome, Daylight Burners. We're back for another Fence Post Politics. Aaron recently got hired by Bud Light, and they had a big convention in San Francisco, and that he's busy. He's balls deep in something or other right now.
The only tranny uglier than Dylan.
That's the thing is, how did that thing happen? Like, I don't understand. Like I was listening to Legion of Skanks earlier today, and Louis J. Gomez had a really good point. He's like, with all the technology that we have nowadays, and you're gonna have a brand like Bud Light, you know, that, I mean, the biggest of the light beers out there, like, go get a hot one. And instead they got this like Skeletor looking thing that acts about maybe 13 years old is about how they would act if they were actually female.
But Aaron's like barely an acceptable looking dude. You throw boobs and a wig on him and it's not getting better. So.
Well, also, here's a picture of Aaron walking into this conference. I'll pop it up on the screen. And I mean, I think he looks pretty good. Honestly. He's slimmed down a little bit, and you know, he's doing all right.
Looks like he's put some shiner on his head. Are the boobs, are those natural or are those implants?
I see. I don't know if that's the wrinkle of the sweater or if they're boobs. I'm not real for sure, because I don't feel like Aaron's always been kind of like skinny fat, and for all the audio listeners, this we're looking at a picture of John Fetterman walking into the Senate chambers. Apparently he's
in a hoodie and shorts.
Yeah, hoodie and shorts, like his normal attire, which. I'm one to be a rebel, but also like, God damn it, dude! It's the fucking U.S. Senate. What the fuck are we doing here? My God, and he doesn't even look cool. I mean, if Tim Scott walked in there with gym shorts and a hoodie, and then I don't think many people would have a problem with it, because it'd be like, I mean, he makes it look cool. So
why are his legs so skinny, but his top is so big? I don't
see. I can't believe I've never made this comparison before, but Aaron really is John Fetterman. I mean, he's not nearly as tall, and he doesn't look quite as much like a mongoloid, but he does have the little chicken legs. And that is kind of Aaron in his natural state, is a hoodie, and well, it's more like a cut off t-shirt, you know, sleeves cut off, and gym shorts. But
both
this time
potential stroke victims.
Potential, yes.
Unconfirmed.
Yeah, has not been verified.
Allegedly.
Allegedly. Large Marge has not. Apparently, she doesn't listen to the show. She has not responded with our secret code. But I will say she had me going the other night. I was like, Large Marge has never been hotter ever. When she was she made like a clear, concise argument to impeach Biden over these Pentagon leaks, and you know what, I'm gonna pull that up. But it honestly was the best case I've ever heard of anybody like actually make a case to, like a sitting member of Congress actually make a case for impeachment of all that I've read throughout history. That was like leaps and bounds above the rest of them, and this came from that fucking lunatic Marjorie Taylor Greene.
I thought you could only impeach if there were like cigars and vaginas involved.
Well, Large Marge has stuck more than one cigar up a vagina, I would bet.
Zelensky's.
Maybe. No, she really don't like Zelensky, but she should make a shirt that says Large Marge. I would buy one.
I think you should send her one.
I should put the Burning Daylight logo right there in the middle somewhere. Just like, yeah, have the Burning Daylight logo like right across the titties, and then have Large Marge, like large on top and Marge on bottom. I think that could sell.
Maybe she'll do it. She'll do it like AOC did with that dress at the Met Gala, and she'll wind up putting Large Marge on her ass.
That'll cost her more money than she'll ever make, though. when they look up my channel, though, like that might be what gets Marjorie Taylor Greene knocked out of Congress. It's being associated with this show.
That'll be what finally gets the FBI to shut your ass down.
Yeah, it might be. It might be. Let's see, Marjorie Taylor Greene. I believe it was from her. From the representative page, if I remember right.
What's a shame, though, is that somebody like Marjorie has such a reputation for being a crazy ass whack job that even when she gets these things right, it's just completely written off.
It's wild. And here we go. She tweets so damn much. It's hard to. You don't have it bookmarked or something. I probably did have it bookmarked, but I'm also a boomer when it comes to running Twitter on my computer. Like I don't know if I've ever looked at Twitter on a PC until I started this show. I always just did it from my phone, and then I could go to, I know it that pretty well that way, but yeah, I'm like my dad trying to connect to the internet, trying to find my bookmarks on Twitter.
Is that because Twitter has become more traumatizing as you're seeing more hate? These days.
Yeah, Elon fucking owned that BBC dude. Like it was gloriously like painful to watch. It was like the height of awkward.
When you get made to look awkward by someone who's clearly autistic.
Oh man, yeah. And yeah, just a fucking nerd, but like straight up alphaed him. He's like, no. Well, tell me. Well, I'll pull that up here in a minute, but this is not the one I was looking for. But when did, because I sent you a screenshot of that, didn't I?
It's possible.
I know I sent.
She's one of those people. She tweets every 5 minutes. So
yeah, I'm at the 14th. So it should be around there somewhere.
I have to first get through all of your random pictures of Freddie Mercury and AIDS.
I didn't think that
so
that
much
meme
AIDS.
I didn't think it got enough love. I thought that was a really, really good meme.
Brad Paisley, still scrolling. You have ADD. You know that, right?
I've been told.
They make pills.
I would like pills too much.
So I keep thinking about Adderall. Like, I could get some shit done, man.
Holy shit, this woman tweets a bunch.
Yeah, no, I think she saw the void that was left by Trump.
Yeah,
and thought, someone's got to fill this.
There's times where she's like I really like her. And then there's other times like where she compared Trump to Jesus the other day. And all right, so what was Friday? Friday was
The 14th.
14th. All right, so I went too far. I don't know what I was saying.
So, I mean, she filed articles of impeachment way back in like January, right?
I think so. All right, so this is the one I sent because I thought this was the most clear, concise, and compelling case for impeachment of a sitting president that I've heard made by a sitting member of Congress. So
I don't know that I've ever looked at her official congressional picture that closely before. I mean, she actually looks fairly hot in that picture.
yeah, not bad.
Yeah.
Not bad. Well, and she's a CrossFit chick, so she's she's no slouch on the body area. She's just she's a little intimidating. She's like white trash intimidating, Like she might pull a firecracker and like stick it down your pants or something, you never know. Wild card. In MTG. When it comes to Ukraine, the Biden administration has lied to us from the very beginning. Joe Biden said the U.S. would not get involved in the war in Ukraine because Ukraine is not a NATO member nation. Yet over a year later, we've spent hundreds of billions of dollars, military equipment, and so much ammunition that we have to borrow from foreign countries like South Korea to replenish our stockpile. We have now found out from a supposed 21-year-old National Guardsman that that there are American military troops on the ground in Ukraine. Is this another Stu Scheller who revealed the truth about the Biden Afghanistan withdrawal? If this is true, why are they there and what are they doing? The U.S. troop presence in Ukraine to go to war with Russia was never authorized by Congress. Never is all caps. Now the Biden administration and the DOJ want to arrest a likely low-level National Guardsman for exposing the truth. Truth in all caps. You got to get that boomer.
And double question marks.
Double question marks. That's the. That's how you get those like 60-year-old conservatives to just like. Ugh.
Do you ever miss the 140 character days?
Yeah, I do. I like. These things don't happen very often, but even so, 280, like sometimes those are big tweets. And I don't know. I liked original Twitter where there wasn't really an algorithm. You just, it was all organic and people just kind of talk shit. That was all, but it wasn't like screeching at each other. It was just like really, witty comments and like snarky. Like it was always snarky, but yeah, now it's just like rage all the time. Yeah. National Guardsmen for exposing the truth. It's Joe Biden, his administration, and the Department of Defense that are breaking the law. They're violating the Constitution by inserting us into an armed conflict that most Americans don't want and no Americans benefit from. The National Guardsmen that released these Pentagon papers is simply blowing the whistle on what is really taking place at the DOD. Yet he's being treated like a traitor and a criminal. It's the Biden admin and the DOD who are acting like criminals. They're the ones who should be held accountable to the American people because of what they're doing in Ukraine. Our Constitution and the rule of law exist for a reason, and the Constitution is clear. It is Congress that must vote to go to war, but again, the Pentagon has involved us into a war that Congress never voted to approve. It is time we hold the Biden administration accountable for breaking the law. # impeach Joe Biden. Well done, Marjorie. Like, that was well thought out.
Her staffer did a nice job.
They did a really good job, but like, I mean, it's kind of, of course, it's not anywhere near as far as I'd like to go, but for especially for an idiot like Marjorie Taylor Greene, like that was well thought out, well said, and I couldn't agree more. These except for one little area on this particular, and calling the dude a whistleblower. If indeed this is what happened, where this, so I guess there's a 21-year-old Air National Guardsman from Massachusetts that supposedly was talking to his gamer buddies on a Discord server and started leaking these documents. Well, I don't even know if you'd call it leaking. It was just like he was trying to big dick his buddies, it sounds like.
Who called him the OG. So when you're 21 and your handle is the OG, it tells you what's going on that server. Yeah.
And you're on a Discord server in the first place. Yeah. So if this is what happened, and I'm somewhat inclined to think so, but also I'm not sold. If that's the case, he was clearly not trying to blow the whistle. He was just like showing off for his friends. And I don't give a shit about like the chain of command shit that you're supposedly supposed to go through to be, you know, a government approved whistleblower. I don't care so much about that, but I don't know how the media ended up with these documents. I don't know if like it was the this what's his name, Jack Teixeira. I don't know if it was him that sent him to the media or if it was somebody from the Discord channel. I don't know if it was the CIA that planted them there. I don't know. But it doesn't seem like this was like a Snowden thing or a Daniel Ellsberg type situation. It was just as important, the stuff that we found out, but how it got released, I'm not sold on him being a whistleblower. I don't know. What's your thoughts on that?
Well, I think Snowden kind of set the standard for what a whistleblower should look like. You know, he went to news outlets. He didn't just start throwing shit out on the internet. And he, you know, I don't know if you've watched any of the documentaries on him or anything about him, but he was very adamant up front that he was not supposed to be the story. And he was smart enough to know that would happen, but he requested over and over that wait, you know, that the real story here was the data collection and the spying and what was going on.
Yeah.
That kind of set the standard for what a whistleblower should look like. You know, that to me is what a hero whistleblower is.
Well, and if you look back to like the original Pentagon Papers with Daniel Ellsberg, I mean, he was sneaking them out a little at a time and then going way across town to like an all-night copy place. And but the same thing, he went to the Post and the Washington Post and New York Times, and and also they protected his identity. That's the craziest thing that I saw that really went down. Is I'm not surprised that they're not reporting on what was leaked, but the fact that they essentially found the guy for the FBI is fucking wild.
No, I mean, they should. The standard in journalism has always been to protect your sources, right? It makes no sense. It makes absolutely zero sense that the media would turn on the guy providing them the news story.
Yeah. and then like barely report on what he actually released. And that's the craziest thing is like, if you pay attention at all, you probably knew we had troops in Ukraine already, you know, special operations type guys. Well, that confirmed it for us, and everybody should be like, "What the fuck, man?" Because all it takes is a stray missile. Maybe it's not even one intended for its target that falls on the wrong place, and one of our dudes gets killed. Well, what the fuck next? Like, then we're at war with Russia for real. Like, not just in the shadows like that. No, we're directly involved.
Do you think there'll
And
be any real outcry?
I don't know. Seymour Hersh has been he's been releasing a story a week since he broke the Nord Stream deal, and it doesn't seem like there's much, not a lot of coverage, but I have noticed as he's leaked stuff, like there's been nothing, and then all of a sudden you'll see some stories in the mainstream media that kind of corroborate what he says, and it's like a week or two later. And so that's when they must finally get their official okay from the Pentagon or the CIA or wherever they're taking orders from. But um yeah, that's I would recommend to go follow him on Substack. It's a paid subscription, but it's well worth the $5 a month because he's if what he's saying is true, and I have not a lot of reason to believe that he's lying to us. He's been right about a lot of shit throughout the years. He's on to something really fucking big, and I don't know. It's a spooky time. Like it just feels like who's the Franz Ferdinand? Like something could pop off just at any moment.
You know, I maybe it's just the bias of things staying the same. There's been so many times where I've thought, oh, this is going to be the thing, this is
Yeah.
going to be the thing that finally shakes it up, that finally changes it. And I just don't see the normies giving a shit.
Well, they won't. They probably won't right at the beginning, but if shit really pops off, I was talking to a history professor. Yeah, and he's kind of on the, like we were talking about reinstating the draft, because I was like, if we come to like actual, like declare war or whatever with Russia, I don't see how we fight that war without like a huge mobilization. And he's like, it's going to be really hard to reinstate the draft. I agree with you there. But if it does come to that, I don't see how we fight a war without doing it. And it's I don't know. It seems like, I mean, like that Franz Ferdinand thing, that was such a regional thing. You think about it, but it kicked off. I mean, it set the powder keg on fire, and it led to all these treaties, kicking into place. And right now, we really only have one treaty that matters, but it's a pretty fucking big treaty.
Well, the way we're bringing other countries into NATO too, it doesn't help.
No, not at all. And
that was done very quietly too.
Yeah, like Finland now, which shares the largest border with Russia outside of China, is now in NATO. Well, I guess not officially yet, but by this summer will be. And something happens there. Poland, same thing. They're in NATO and they share a border with Russia, and or no, I guess they're with Belarus, I think. But
there's been almost no coverage of Finland. That has huge implications.
Yeah, it's Dave DeCamp on Anti-War News covers it quite a bit, but that's about it that I've seen. That Brian Dean Wright started doing his podcast again, and he's pretty He does a really pretty good podcast for, like just like a quick news update.
But
I
I
think
kind of have to agree with something that Sagar on Breaking Points always says. He always questions the idea of being an ex-CIA operative. There's no such thing
yeah,
as ex-CIA. And
yeah.
every time I listen to that Brian D. Wright one, I hear Sagar in the back of my head.
I know. But the stories that he brings out, and also if you keep that in the back of your head, you also see like what his angle is when he brings them up. But also, I have no doubt that guy loves America, and like he's a spook, but he's not like the guy pulling the strings of power. Like this is a guy that was just honestly working to because he's an American. So like while I might disagree with him, I don't really question his ulterior motives. Like he might be trying to shift the conversation one way and do a little sleight of hand, but at the end of the day, he's not trying to come get my guns. That's I don't think that of the guy. I think he's actually a sure enough kind of a patriot type guy. Maybe a little misguided on his foreign policy, but
So he's the real life American Dad cartoon.
kinda, yeah. Kinda. I don't he's not quite as well, he's not at all cartoonish, but yeah, like that type of like if you put a caricature of him, I think I'd say that him and like Buck Sexton are kind of the same way. Also, ex CIA. Evan Hafer, same way, ex CIA. But I don't know. It's like I said, they're not going to be the dude kicking down my door to come get guns or give the forbidden laptop up. Like I don't. There's some guys that I see like anybody who's on Lindsey Graham's staff, like in his security detail. I could see that dude kicking my door down to get a laptop. But I don't see. I don't know. There's you get to kind of get a feeling about some people, and maybe that's just because they're CIA. I don't know.
So you're going to volunteer to go fight in Ukraine?
Fuck no. I got bad eyes and bad ankles and
Flat feet.
I wish I had flat feet. Clint Mandel's got flat feet, but I don't have the flat feet. But I've got bad enough eyes where they wouldn't take me voluntarily, so I don't think they're gonna draft me. So
Depends how desperate they get, right?
that's true.
I was looking up the other day how old they were drafting into World War II because I was thinking, surely we're getting too old for that shit. No, not at all.
There's a like a it's kind of like a Band of Brothers, but Mike Rowe narrated it, but it's instead of live action, it's kind of like a graphic novel. And I forget what unit it was, but it's U.S. Army, but they're coming up through Italy and stuff, and it showed really like it was, and it's based off of a book. I don't remember. I can't remember the name, but
The Liberator?
yeah, maybe so. Liberators, yeah, and they were showing how when they got into Germany proper, like they were hitting the last lines of defense. So it was just nothing but old dudes and young boys that were and then some commander, on a loudspeaker, you will fight to the last German, and it's fucking wild. And I think Ukraine's not too far from that, at the moment. Like I've seen videos, and who knows if it's real or not. That's the weirdest thing about this fucking war is like I don't have any clue what's going on. The biggest kind of revelation that we got from these papers that were released is, yeah, it's not going at all like they're telling us in the media. Like if you look what they're saying at the Pentagon, and like Ukraine's going to be out of air defense missiles in like a week or so. and they've exhausted their artillery supply and our artillery supply, holding out on this Bakhmut city, which is really has no strategic significance at all. And they're about to lose it anyways. And you're like, what the fuck, man? Yeah, so now like that actually does kind of put us vulnerable as a from the homeland point of view. I still we hit the fucking jackpot on geographic location, but when you don't have any artillery to beat back ships and stuff, well, it makes it a little bit harder, or puts a little crack in the armor.
From a draft perspective, was it 4 years ago that they started talking about requiring women to sign up for the selective service?
Yeah, it wasn't very long ago.
It would be interesting to see how all that would play into it.
Maybe they predicted this whole trans thing coming through, and and they saw that as a workaround, so they went ahead and just like slid that in. Because I mean, come on, unless the women are just like the top 2 or 3 in the country, they're not drafting them to go serve on the front line. Not yet, anyways.
Depends how much cannon fodder you need, I suppose.
That's true. I mean, I can't imagine what the massacre would be trying to invade California, like with all those military bases there, and just with the sheer
just arm the homeless people. They'll throw their shit at you. It'll be fine.
Dude, you'll have a bunch of Northern Californians coming out of the woods to go line the coast. Like you would have Texans going to California to go line the coast. I mean, it would be a fucking slaughter. It would be bad. So I'm just, when it comes to that,
do you remember Sarah Palin made a big deal when she was running about how she could see Russia from her front step? So all this time that we've made fun of Sarah Palin, turns out bitch knew what she was talking about.
Well, she's just old mama bear. Alaska, I mean, they might be able to invade it a little ways, but then the bears would fucking eat them. So
but would anybody really care?
Yeah, I mean, by the time they got to Canada, they'd just be like, "Hey, what's this all about?" There's like 3 Russians over here. It'd be like when they went up the Yukon Trail back in the day. Yeah, we really did hit the jackpot on that end, but also you got to have ammo. You can have all the guns you want, but you got to have ammo. And yeah, we're literally. It's hard to say why exactly we're borrowing ammunition from South Korea. Like, are we doing it to backfill our supply, or if we are trying to do the old switcheroo and give it to Ukraine? I'm not sure. Probably a little bit of both. But the fact that we don't, like, all of a sudden we're like, oh shit, that might be a problem. Like, that's, what are we paying all this money to the defense budget for if, like, we can't, like, that's one thing I never questioned, is like, we always had the best shit, and I think we still do, but like, where's the inventory? Like, what the fuck have I been paying for? Goddamn.
Well, what'd you think about the phone tapping of Zelensky?
Yeah, that one, that one's also telling, because behind closed doors, when he's not talking to Western powers, he's like, no, if we get these long range missiles and fighter jets, we're striking into Russia itself. Which, I mean, obviously we haven't learned from history, but like, that one should be like a really like big flashing red light. It's like, don't invade Russia. Also, I mean, you'd think the same thing about Afghanistan, but
It's
both us,
spring. He'll be fine. That's only a
both
rule in
us,
winter.
right, right. But it's gonna be like late fall when he first gets those Abrams that we're supposed to be sending them, and I'm not even like I don't even fault Zelensky for wanting to strike into Russia. Like I get that you guys are at war, but these F-16s cost like $100 million a piece or some shit like that, and all the Ukrainian pilots are trained on Soviet MiGs. And so, like, we send 14 F-16s over, and 12 of them get crashed before they actually see combat. Like, what the fuck, man?
Well, that's why we send troops.
Yeah, yeah, that's exactly right.
It's
You
interesting.
gotta train and advise. Classic mission creep.
Well, look at what happened with Japan in World War II. Shouldn't we at some point learn lessons?
You would think so. On Drinking Bros, Dan Holloway's been going off on this a lot here lately, but not only us, but Germany, we've cut ourselves off at the knees because we stopped. I mean, we cut back our oil production drastically, and all of this green energy bullshit, all the components come from China, and Germany, which, like, me and Aaron were talking the other day, like, Germany's really good at fighting war, but they're not good at like managing war because they don't have resources.
I don't know what you're talking about. Those trains ran on fucking time.
They did, but until they ran out of shit. and then but that was the whole reason why, like, the rise and fall of the Third Reich such an interesting book, but the guy that wrote it was a war correspondent for CBS or something like that, NBC. One of the whoever was around back in World War II, but like he was living in Berlin, and like he wrote this whole big I don't know if you call it thesis or whatever, but it's 700-800 page book of and Rise and Fall of the Third Reich. But his whole deal was to capture Western Europe and hope that Great Britain would stay out, because Great Britain had the industrial capacity and they had a really good navy. And so they really didn't want to fight Great Britain. And then they kind of laughed at us at the time. But also didn't want us involved because they saw what we could spin up for war production. But Germany was always trying to get to the east because that's where the wheat was and that's where the oil was. And once they ran out of materials, they lost the war, and also their leader was on fucking meth, so that didn't help either. As the war dragged on, but like Germany already doesn't have resources. That Nord Stream was a huge boom for them because they got cheap Russian natural gas, and they were not only able to supply their industrial capacity, but they were able to export, at a profit, all this extra Russian gas. We cut that off, and Germany, for whatever reason, still stays with us. I'm still like, I don't turn your back on Germany. They might do some shit. I don't trust. I don't know why we ever became allies with them. Like, sure, reunite them or whatever, but like, you guys can never have weapons again. I'm like, ultimately, I'm a Second Amendment absolutist, except for Germany. Those guys are just too good at fighting war, and they kind of fuck shit up. But so now they don't have the cheap gas. They've been shutting down their nuclear reactors, and they have no backups. Like they're literally the price of firewood went up like 1,000% this last winter, and luckily it was a pretty mild winter over there for them.
But you have to wonder if we're actually that far behind them. Like, are we doing anything different?
No, like we're doing the same thing as the the only thing between us and them is we can turn production back on. You know, it might take a little bit to ramp up, but all they got to do is say like, "Hey, go drill," and they'll go drill, and we'll get oil in a pretty quick amount of time. But they'll have to build more. They should build more refineries and whatnot. But um, I don't get where Germany falls into all this because we really fucked them. If we indeed blew up that Nord Stream pipeline, we fucked them good and hard.
And you know that they have to know.
Oh yeah, I mean, was the New York Times reported like maybe it's just better off for everybody if we don't know what happened?
Mm-hmm.
Like, so that's like, yeah, we did that. we did that.
But a German-Russian alliance seems unlikely too.
Yeah, I think so. It seems almost as unlikely as you know, the Ukrainians, you know, accepting Russian occupation. You know, outside of those areas that Russia's trying to control, like they're not going to take Kiev. I don't think. I mean, and if they do, it's not going to be peaceful there for any time in our lifetime. Like the Ukrainians and the Polish, like they really got fucked from both sides. You know, like they really got hit hard during you know, from 1900 to 1945. I mean, well, and even afterwards, you know, during the Soviets, I mean, 100 years they got fucked over. So I understand why the Ukrainians are fighting.
Well, that's
But like
why the Polish are considered black now.
Yeah, pretty much.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And the Poles are like trying like hell to get people involved. And I also like I kind of get where they're coming from, but also like you know what that means when everybody gets involved and like maybe just tone it down a little bit. But also from their point of view, I'm like, I kind of get where they're coming from.
I just can't see. You know, there was a study that came out a couple weeks ago that's been talked about on a lot of different platforms that looked at patriotism since the 90s to now and how much that has dropped off, right? That's how they sell U.S. involvement in all of these things, is by tapping in to our sense of patriotism. Yeah. If that's gone, I don't know that they could ever pull the support they need.
I mean, like all the young guys that listen to this show and like my nephews and friends that I would tell them don't know, like burn your fucking draft card, man, because it ain't worth it. We're not ready, and the people leading us into that, I don't trust them a bit. Like if you talk to just about any guy that served over in Iraq and Afghanistan right now, they'll tell you the same thing. They're like, no, fuck no. Fuck no. It was bad enough when we were there and we were fighting a pissant army. Now we got to go like fight conventional warfare. It's a whole different thing, and we don't have the leadership to actually win that war. You know, like I'm still not worried about us getting invaded, but the people that are going to be defending the homeland, should that actually happen, are not going to be our best by any means, because the best will be killed overseas. So I don't know. It's I really hope they come to some sort of solution and and these fucking war hawks don't drag us in. That's the thing that worries me the most, is just I don't have a doubt that we could, if it would just came to conventional weapons, even modern day conventional weapons, but take the nukes out of the equation. we can beat the Russians, but fuck, man, we'll see. We've seen what the Russians do when they're attacked. They just throw bodies at the deal, and that's not good for either side. And we're seeing that with 8 months in Bakhmut. Fuck, man, it's not good. Like, you don't want, that's not a war anybody wants.
Well, you know, things are weird when China's being the responsible adult in the room saying, children, children,
I
can't we
know
all
it.
talk?
China has played us so fucking hard.
Mm-hmm.
Once the Saudis start trading oil in the yuan, shit, man, that's gonna it's gonna get rough.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Do you think
yeah,
the unipolar moment is over?
yeah, I think so. I think that's done. Brazil's calling out the U.S. too for encouraging this war, and like, rightfully so. I hate to hear any sort of lecture from Brazil or really any other country, but they're not wrong. I mean, fuck them anyways, but they're not wrong.
Hmm.
No, I
Yeah, when you're
I
getting told you're unethical by any country really in South America,
yeah. Yeah, I know, it kind of,
shit's getting weird.
you kind of like, hey, fuck you, guy. But also, I mean, that's kind of what the entire world says to us when we're like, hey, you can't invade a sovereign country. Fuck you, man. Ask Iraq how that turned out. Ask how Syria how that's another thing. The Middle East is about to pop off again too. Like,
Always.
the Saudis and the Iranians are teaming back up, and now, like, Israel might be kind of properly fucked here. And if we're gonna go fight anywhere, it's probably gonna be Israel. I mean, I don't know, Taiwan or Israel, but
The propaganda coming out of Israel is real though. I mean, like it's pretty freaking wild the spin that they've
oh
got.
yeah, yeah, and you gotta preface this, like, because I'm not anti-Semitic at all. I like giving my buddy Rob a hard time for being Jewish, but that's just because we're dudes. It's what we do. Um, no, and there's this weird thing with the Christian right and in Israel. Like, they're uh I heard on Scott Horton the other day, and I'm gonna do a whole episode on this, but apparently there's something in, it's not in the Bible itself, but it's in some of the Jewish teachings that you cannot pray at what's the mosque there in Jerusalem. I can't remember. I keep wanting to say Ansar al Sharia, but I think that's like an ISIS group.
That does sound like an ISIS group.
It's Al Alaska Mosque. And so I think it's like right there with the Wailing Wall and, the old temple. And it's considered like the third most holy site in Islam. And in the Jewish text, like, you're not allowed to pray there unless like, you bless yourself with the ashes of a solid red heifer. So a bunch of the Zionists in Israel teamed up with one of these mega pastors in Texas, and they did a whole bunch of genetic stuff to produce these solid red heifers, and then exported them to Israel.
I always wondered what the hell the Red Angus people were thinking.
Yeah,
Man, I get it now.
I wonder if how much the Red Angus Association got from the state of Israel, but and I don't know. It's like I said, it's one of those. I'm gonna do an episode on that someday because it sounds interesting and it sounds insane, but also I could see it happening.
Uh-huh.
But it supposedly it's being pushed by like essentially like the fascist wing of the Israeli government, like the coalition that Netanyahu had to build. Like, a big proportion of that are like far more militant than he is, and Netanyahu's about as militant as they come. And so anyway, it's interesting, but they're doing that so they can burn these heifers and just bless the, all the Zionists to go pray at the Al Aqsa Mosque just to inflame tensions and hopefully that the Palestinians attack first so that they can respond, with with the wrath of God. And sounds real conspiratorial, but also I could see it happening.
Well, like a month ago, there was some flunky of Netanyahu that was making the rounds of all the shows. She was on Bill Maher and a bunch of them, going on and on and on about how violence and hatred towards Jews was on the rise. And it was such a clear, misdirect from what was going on. Don't pay attention to Netanyahu trying to change the rules so he can never be ousted. Just look at how much everybody hates Jews.
Yeah, it's that's kind of how it's always been with Israel, is like you can't really criticize them without being called an anti-Semite or something. And it's like, but I don't have anything against Jewish people at all. I'm just like, that government seems like it's not great, It seems like they're they've got people backed into a corner and then they just keep poking them, waiting for them to. And I don't know, that's like saying it nicely. If you want to say it the other way, it's a fucking apartheid state.
Absolutely.
And that doesn't mean that Jesus wasn't a Jew himself. But like, hey, this particular group of Jews seems like a bunch of assholes, It's like, but there's no, you can't criticize Israel without being called an anti-Semite. And then you're like, man, you wonder why there's a whole lot of people talking about the old JQ nowadays. And you're like, I mean, if you'd let them discuss it and you let the Jewish people respond appropriately, and like have an actual debate about it, like a lot of those people would be like, no, maybe it's just the rich Jews that suck. It's kind of like the rich people everywhere just kind of suck. Doesn't matter what the ethnicity or religion. It's just like, the more rich you get and the more power you accumulate, like just kind of the bigger dick you are.
To me, it's a lot like the woke situation we say here, where you've got a bunch of these Jewish Israelis complaining that people are being mean to them. Like, you are the privileged class there. What the hell are you talking about?
I know it. Yeah, and
it's like a college-educated white woman in America complaining that people are mean to her. No, you are the privileged class.
I know.
Stop.
There's nothing funnier than watching like a middle-aged white Karen lecture a black person about how they're, they don't know the plight of the black man. He's like, dude, I'm fucking black. From the hood. I get it. Yeah, it's fucking wild. Like on that I guess going back to kind of the opening deal with the trans shit. I really don't want to give Bud Light any more publicity than they already got, but mostly because that stuff sucks. Like, I've never been a Bud Light fan. I'm a Colorado guy, and not even one for brand loyalty, but I know that every time I've drank Bud Light, it's given me a headache. Regardless,
I honestly think the last time I had a Bud Light was probably at your house 20 years ago.
Probably.
Like, I didn't realize there were still people drinking that shit.
I know but I mean, as a marketing standpoint, it fucking worked. People are talking about Bud Light now. But on the other end, like it is kind of nice to see the conservative wing finally just be like, hey, what the fuck, man? And it's funny that it had to come to beer, and a shitty beer at that. But also, The only trans stuff that I see anymore comes from conservative people.
Mm-hmm.
And just I get being upset about the like indoctrinating the kids. Like I really understand where you're coming from. Um the easiest thing to do is just homeschool your kids. I mean that's the easiest solution. But um otherwise, yeah, you're gonna have to kind of pay attention to that shit. But at what point are you just promoting it? Because I don't. I follow a lot of left wing accounts too, just to see what they're bitching about, and I see them drinking Bud Light because you're boycotting Bud Light, but I don't see a whole lot of trans shit except from the conservatives, and just like, seems like if you would have ignored it, that shit might have went away a little bit quicker. I don't know.
It's interesting though, because they ignored when Jack Daniels did it a few years ago. They came out with a big, and you didn't hardly hear anything about that.
No, and then
maybe Jack Daniels is too expensive to make a big show of dumping out. We had to wait for it to be something cheaper.
Maybe so. But like you see a lot of posts on Facebook of they post the can of the Coors can with John Wayne on it, and then somebody will post underneath it, the Coors logo in the pride flag, and you're like, I mean, it's all they've all done it. I quit buying Levi's years ago, and I fucking hate that. Levi's 501s are still to this day the best pair of jeans ever made on this earth. And I haven't bought them since they came out. They were donating money to anti-gun groups, and fucking pisses me off to this day. I've gone through I don't know how many different styles of jeans, and some of them are okay, some of them are not good, and none of them are as good as Levi's 501s. But fuck them, I'm not gonna spend money at a place that's gonna actively try to take my guns away.
Wasn't there some with Carhartt like a year ago or so?
Something with the vaccine mandates, I think. I can't remember for sure. And like all the like Kid Rock was one of the more famous ones where he took a submachine gun to all his Bud Light, which it's a cool video. Not gonna lie, I would.
He was probably gonna do it anyway.
I know.
Let's be honest.
I wish I was there. Not gonna lie. Kid Rock seems like a good hang. He's an idiot. He's an idiot, but he seems like he's a good hang. And that would have been fun as shit. But like, what point are you proving? Like, you already gave him money. Like, might as well drink it and get some enjoyment out of it. And I don't know. It's the same way with people burning their Carhartt jackets. I'm like, if that thing wasn't ready to be done, I would have held on to it. Like that shit costs money.
So
go ahead.
This one's going to take you a little off topic, but it's a good one for all of you cowboys in the West to be thinking about as we're talking about oil land being taken out of production. I don't know if you've seen, but the BLM has released a new proposal. Their mandate, right, is to be multi-use. And they are going to make conservation an equal use to grazing or oil production so that a permit can be solely purchased to place it into conservation.
So they're trying to expand the national parks and yeah. I'm not even opposed to expanding the national parks. I think the national park systems is one of the only thing the progressives got right. How it's been managed since then has been awful. But there's a lot of stuff I would like to see. Like, hey, you can't build houses here. Like, and I'm everybody knows I'm pretty dyed in the wool libertarian, but I'm also from rural America, and I've seen the constant just urban creep, and there's some places where like, no, fuck you, you can't build a house there. Like, if you wanna take that and reintroduce some wilderness or whatever, like, fine. But also, like, the equal use stuff, no, I think I don't agree with that.
It's
We've
going to make
seen
a
what
lot
hap-
more competition for those grazing permits. That's for sure. When now somebody, Wild Earth Guardians or whoever can be bidding on those permits for the sole purpose of doing nothing with it. That wasn't a thing before, and now it will be.
Yeah, and I guess we'll find out how bad some people want to stay in business too. Like that's I'm I don't know. That's a tough deal. I'm not I'm not in favor of just like putting something completely in conservation, but I will say at the end of the day, at least it's not a fucking subdivision. Um, that's I don't know, man. That's from a from a libertarian standpoint, I don't want the government to decide it whatsoever, but it's also government land, which they shouldn't have, and so like we can't just say like, hey, the government shouldn't own that. And like, I agree with you, but they do. So what the fuck are we talking about? We can talk about how they shouldn't all day long, but how are we gonna able to make this better for like our type of people?
Yeah, it's just definitely something for all you guys out west to keep on your radar.
Yeah, that's a good one to definitely pay attention to. Have you heard any updates from this deal in New Mexico where they're shooting all those wild cattle on the Gila National Forest?
Only that they had done it again.
I
But
heard that they
I
had
think I
shot a
take the
few.
unpopular opinion on that one with your audience because I feel like they weren't supposed to. Like we ran on BLM for many, many
Mm.
years. I spent a lot of time working with federal lands, and there's pretty clear rules on when those cattle become owned by the state.
Yeah, I don't disagree with getting them out of there. Like, I mean, that's kind of the one of the rubs against the Bundy family is because they kind of let their cattle just go everywhere. And Nevada is a fence them out state, but I mean his cattle were on the golf course, fairly regularly. Like what like a long ways from where they were supposed to be, and it's open range and whatnot. But also, you're supposed to even open range, you're supposed to kind of control where your cattle go. Um, but to just shoot them from a helicopter like hogs and leave them, that's it's such a waste.
I'm okay with it if it means we can start shooting horses too.
Yeah, but that's that ain't happening. Guarantee you that ain't happening. I would agree with you on that. On that condition, but um, yeah, it's just these environmentalists are something else. Like I said,
So
go
we
ahead.
had issues out on BLM. Wild cows were a thing.
Mm,
You would have a maverick get away and start his own little herd, and they get real inbred, and it was a problem. And that was just how it was taken care of, and nobody cried over it. It just was what it was. I don't know. I have a hard time feeling real worked up over shooting a bunch of wild cows. I used to try to figure out if I could sell hunts.
yeah,
Anybody
and
want to pay to come shoot a wild cow?
that I bet you there somebody would guaranteed.
Shit, we were shooting buffalo because the state of Utah would release them as wildlife. And I don't know if it came as a real shock to them that they don't just stop at the state border, but they would cross right into Colorado, and Colorado views them as livestock. So the second
Yeah,
they're on your property, they're trespassing livestock. And we would have parties and have everybody out from town to go hunt down and shoot the damn buffalo.
you got a
Like
buffalo robe. If you don't have a buffalo robe, you're wasting everybody's time.
Horses, terrified of those things.
Oh, I bet.
They can smell them. Nothing gets done.
They There's a lot of cutting horse trainers that'll have a buffalo on hand though, just to work their colts. But I've always heard like getting them up to them the first time is not. It's kind of like getting them up to a donkey too. I mean, like if they haven't ever seen a donkey, they'll freak the fuck out.
Or goat.
Yeah. Well, I was riding my Mustang today, and we had one of our heifers calved, and so I had a little kind of a cute little shit Holstein calf, and she was not real happy about that one.
Did you just call a Holstein cute?
Yeah, the calf, the baby calves, they're kind of cute. I'm not gonna lie. They're dumber and shit, like dumber than their older sisters, but kind of cute.
The place we bought in Nebraska came with about 24 peacocks. Yeah, not kidding at all. The horses would not come in for weeks.
I believe that there's, I mean, if you'd never seen a peacock before in your life as a human, when they spread like they'll just flip it out, like they don't scare the shit out of you right that first time.
Well, and then
But
it shakes and it sounds like a rattlesnake.
yeah, and then a horse. Come on, yeah, I get it. I get why they wouldn't.
We're down to about a dozen. I think that's what will survive if we don't give a shit. Also, turns out no, but it turns out that they nest in the alfalfa, which doesn't do well with the swather.
Did it clog up the swather at all?
No, but you're just kind of cruising along, and then it's like, shit, what are all those feathers? Oh.
You haven't ate a peacock yet? I would. You got to try one.
I keep threatening the kids that that's what we're gonna have for every holiday. But.
You should just roast peacock.
No, Logan looked up with our youngest one time what they sell for online, and then was like, "Well, shit, I guess throw some corn at him. I don't know."
And so it's only the males that have the big plumage, right?
Yeah, but they lose them every fall. They drop all those feathers in a big pile every fall and then regrow them.
Huh. I'm sure I've seen one of the hens before, but they're kind of ugly, I'd imagine.
Yeah, they're just kind of brownish and.
Yeah, I know I've seen them before, but I can't picture them.
And they scream all day.
Yeah, we had some neighbors that had a whole bunch of peacocks and peahens, but yeah, you only remember the males because they got I mean, it is a pretty impressive display if you're a female bird, I guess. it's a pretty impressive set of feathers. Yeah, you should roast one up for Thanksgiving. See what it tastes like.
You got to be careful because out of all those peacocks, we had one chick that lived to maturity this year.
Oh, really?
Yeah, apparently they're not real smart. We found dead ones in the water tank floating.
Oh yeah, birds in the water tanks. That's a common occurrence. We had we get these what do they call them? They're like a swallow, but starling. Like thousands of them, and we eventually.
They're pretty nasty, aren't they?
Yeah. The little table beside one of our chutes was just white with bird shit. It's fucking gross. But we put out poison grain on those, and for about 2 days you just have poisoned birds flying into the horse barn, like hitting off the back wall.
Yeah, it's been interesting. I never thought I'd be a peacock farmer, but here I am.
Well, there you go. There was a funny story I was going to end off in the show with, but I forget what it was now. Let me see it. I'm sure I put it in my notes. If not,
well, if anybody's in the market for peacock feathers, my 11-year-old's trying to make an Etsy business out of this shit. So hit me up.
Oh, yeah, I'm gonna use this one anyways. I was gonna use it, and then I heard it on Legion of Skanks today, so I was like, I don't want to sound like I was copying from them, but I saved this on the 11th of April, so I think I had it first. That's what I'm gonna say, anyways.
I'm already getting messages asking if I want to sell peacocks. Joe, you're gonna have to take it up with my 11-year-old. I'll pass on your information.
Joe, which Joe?
Drink Walter.
Oh yeah, that fucking hippie. What was so it was the New York Post. It was,
It is funny to watch the dogs get their asses kicked by him.
oh yeah, they did not hang up, or they not hold up well against a peacock.
I mean, I think I would be kind of terrified.
Well, yeah, probably.
They're
What
big.
kind of dogs?
Like just our border collies.
Oh well, border collies get scared at their own shadow.
Yeah, but it's a big ass bird.
Um,
And you have to throw them peanuts.
Peanuts, huh?
Yeah, I guess they need some kind of like seed oil in their lives. So
Huh.
I now buy peanuts in bulk. That's my life.
Damn it, I can't find this article now, but I think it was Florida. I'll read it off my phone. Oh no, it's Chicago. Alleged gang member with Down syndrome indicted in separate Chicago murders. An alleged gang member with Down syndrome has been charged with the murders of two men just 10 days apart in Chicago, according to a local report.
Is this Rob?
it's his twin brother. All right, so now Nicholas Smush is his
For real, that's his name? Smush?
Yeah. Smush. Well, nickname anyways. Samudio is his last name. He's a member of the Latin Kings. Here we go. I found it now. Shot man dead in front of his pregnant wife. Oh wow. Road rage attack with second victim killed in mistaken identity shooting. Member of the Chicago secta.
You should prepare people before you scroll down to that mugshot.
All right, hold on. I gotta pee real quick. I'll be right back. All right. Well, how turned on are you by this guy?
I mean, it's like the next 50 Shades of Grey should probably feature him.
It looks like somebody put his regular selfie in Photoshop and then just like clicked on his nose and drug it to the side.
It would be like if Snapchat came out with a Down syndrome filter.
But see, for me, he doesn't even look like so much Down syndrome as inbred.
Arkansas. Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah, I mean, Illinois. I mean, that's almost the South, the southern part of Illinois. So I mean, it's not inconceivable.
I'm liking the cocky smile too. I feel like that really adds to it.
Yeah, that's his.
It's like a come hither.
He's been arrested 17 times since his 18th birthday, and he's 22 years old. Holy shit! Wow.
So
I
does
mean,
that mean that the gang was like, you know what, perfect mule. We're gonna get us a retard.
I think so. Member of the Chicago sect of the Latin Kings who has Down syndrome is accused of killing a man in front of his pregnant wife in a road rage attack, and then killing a man in a case of mistaken identity 10 days later. So the pregnant woman didn't get him arrested, but the other guy got him arrested. Nicholas Smush Samudio, 22, in February, is who's alleged. On February 16th, Samudio is accused of shooting Humberto Marin Garcia dead following a road rage incident in the Bridgeport section of the city, while on February 26th, he allegedly shot and killed Tomas Villa in the North Lawndale neighborhood after mistaking him for a member of a rival gang.
Do you think Smush is like in reference to his face?
It's gotta be.
It's
Gotta be. Or maybe like during one of the gang initiations when he had to, had to have one of the girls get fucked by him, he just like smushed it up against her leg or something.
How is that where you go?
I'm thinking outside the box.
I feel like your brain is a scary place.
Well, you're not all that wrong.
He's gonna have fun in prison.
During his first hearing in court, Samudio's lawyer disclosed that the client had been diagnosed with Down syndrome, a condition that caused both mental and physical disabilities. I wonder what his physical disabilities were, because he seems like he's, like I said, he doesn't look so much Downsy as he does inbred.
His trigger finger works.
Yeah, I mean, worked twice at least. That's the dude he killed. So in front of his pregnant wife, and then he mistook this guy. Maybe that's where the Downs comes in, because he mistook this guy for a.
That guy looks like he's starting a tech company.
He looks like Pedro from Napoleon Dynamite's nerdy
grown
cousin.
up.
Yeah. He looks like the Mexican version of Napoleon Dynamite, kind of. But that he was thought to be a member of a rival gang. Man,
his hair's combed.
That's I would not respect that gang at all if that was the leader.
It's a gang that like does a lot of snapping as they walk.
Yeah, like instead of the drug trade, they're just like playing Dungeons and Dragons. His lawyer also said that Samudio worked both a demolition company and a furniture mover. Well, retard strength makes sense.
But then that also leads back to what physical disability does he have if he can move furniture for a living?
I mean, the dude looks like he could pick up a couch. Just like throw it in the truck. Full size sectional, He's charged with felony murder, attempted murder, and aggravated discharge of a firearm. 17 times in 4 years. Like, that's... They need to catch his gang
It's got to
leader,
be mostly
because
drug charges, right?
has to be. But like, you gotta find his boss, because like that, you almost need like a union dispute for that guy. Like 17 times in 4 years, like that, like overplaying your hand, I think.
You're going to start to see the gangs now actively recruiting downs.
I wouldn't be surprised. And it goes into Chicago politics, which
Also has downs.
yeah, I mean, it's funny. You listen to the guy that's that's going to take over for Lori Lightfoot, and you're just like, man, I kind of like that Lori Lightfoot lady. You know, like, holy shit. I didn't think anything would make her look good, except for, well, apparently this new mayor. But
she'll be the new Bud Light campaign.
Yeah, crazy.
Put that ugly mug on a can.
You know, I was really wanting Bush Light to lean into this trans deal too, just so I could watch a bunch of farmers and their heads explode as they're just like taking.
No, they've just got the John Deere cans.
I know, but I wanted them like full trans though, like pre-op, and like kind of a nudie can, so they're just like drinking a dick the entire time. and you know they're gonna do it anyways, because those farmers, like, they love them some Bush lattes.
I did not realize how thick the affinity for Bush was until I moved to farmer country.
It's something else. It's something else. That Midwest, the Bush lattes run deep, and yeah, I think you could put any tranny on that can, and they might bitch about it. They will bitch about it, but I bet you they still drink it. They'll put it in a koozie.
Uh-huh.
Well, shit. This is a fun episode, Jen. You got anything else you want to add?
No. Just if anybody's interested, check out my podcast, Black Hereford Chronicles. Talk about ranching.
Yeah,
and things going on in the seed stock industry.
Yeah, check it out. It's she posts it here. She's got her own channel. Subscribe to them both. Double the downloads. Make you feel good.
Yeah. I don't tell myself that, so shut the hell
up. Anyways, no, it's been fun. Thanks for filling in. Aaron will be back from the Bud Light convention at some point, I'm sure.
And you'll give his new vagina full inspection.
Yeah, I mean, my Facebook ads, some, you know, like, they used to be the Wish ads, but like the Wish ads have kind of gone away.
Mm-hmm.
And this one the other day, I almost wanted to file a complaint with Facebook because I felt a little triggered, but it's from Nude, NOOD, the sponsored ad. It says, "Are you tired of shaving your lady bits, waxing your hoo-ha?" I didn't.
I've been getting those too. That's hilarious that you're getting them.
So that was the description, but the picture is of the shaver, and it just says, big letters, "Tired of shaving your vulva?" Well, yes, Nude, I am. Tell me more. I don't know what that says about me. I don't know what they're trying to say about me, but I'm not sure if I like it.
Well, we'll all be expecting product reviews.
Yeah. Just, you'll have to, if you want to see like the bird's eye view, you got to subscribe to patreon.com/burning-daylight. I don't think I can show the bird. I think I can show the starfish, but
that might be an OnlyFans subscription.
Yeah, I don't think I want to dive into that. We'll see. We'll see how desperate I get with this coming recession. That's
how you get out of getting drafted.
That's right. I'm providing a service to the community. Get my deferment through OnlyFans. All right. Well, Jen, it was fun. You have a good one, and thanks everybody for tuning in. Move your ass. We're burning daylight.
Your eyes up in the morning, beneath the stars so bright. Pull your hat down, make sure your cinch is tight. Horse is kinda snuffy, cold chill up your spine. We'll get your ass moving, son, we're burning daylight. Burning daylight. Burning daylight. In the saddle till the job's done right. Burning daylight. Well, life is just a gather, and you won't catch 'em all. But when you ride through the gate, make sure you sit up tall. I can see the horizon, it's looking pretty bright. Well, get your ass moving, son, we're burning daylight. Burning daylight. Burning daylight. In the saddle till the job's done right.